Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Welcome into Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning. I'm Jake Hitt, obviously not Shane Matthews, or else I'd have a lot more money. I'm joined by JC, John Cornell. How you doing today, JC?
Hey man, good to have you again. Welcome from South Florida with your glorious Rumble Ponies hat that you have on right there. I went with the Dolphins. I didn't think I'd be wearing this hat for the rest of the season because of how miserable that organization is. And look at what they do last night. They just smoked the Baltimore Ravens with a incredible defensive performance. Who saw that coming? I think they went into that game as a touchdown underdog at home. I am finding out as I look at these big lines for teams, and especially last weekend, Jake, that if you have a team that's coming in and laying 7, 8, 9, 10 points, Vegas is basically begging you to take it, thinking that you're just going to pick the team that's got the better record or this or that and the other. And look at what happened last weekend. So many dogs won last weekend. South Carolina over Florida. I could go on and on and on. And then we have in the NFL last weekend, the Dallas Cowboys get smoked, big favorite. The Rams got smoked, big favorite. Of course, last night with the Ravens, if I take a second, I could think of some other huge favorites that just got. Oh, the Raiders, they went into New York and got smoked, leading their division. What Denver did to Dallas. So anyway, they're tempting you. And last night they wanted you to take the Ravens. People probably did. And then the Dolphins just swam right on by. So a big night for Tua as he comes in to replace Brissett. Look, I know it's the Dolphins. I know they've only won 3 games, Jake, but they've won 2 straight now. And defensively, they're looking like that team we saw last year. So that was fun to watch. Watch that big washout game in Pittsburgh last night with Carolina and the Panthers for the control of the Coastal Division. It looks like Pittsburgh can control their own fate and get to that championship game likely against Wake Forest. So college football, Jake, I'm sure you saw all week long. The fury over the college football rankings with Michigan and Michigan State. So there's a lot of things going on, my man. What caught your eye?
Yeah, talking about that game last night, that was probably the worst game I've seen in a long time. I think I hope most people remember it for the amazing athletic play by Robert Hunt, that was cool offensive lineman who just steals a screen pass from Myles Gaskin and flips into the end zone. I think it should just count. I think there should be a rule. If it's awesome, it counts.
The effort was amazing. And, he acted as if he was eligible because I know he knew he was ineligible. But he said, you know what, this is one shot that I have with the football in my hands, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to score. The big offensive lineman, right?
Yeah, it's better if you take the penalty there than let someone else catch it.
Well, or just not do it, right? And just kind of bat it down. He wanted to show the world that he had some athletic ability with a football in his hand, and he did show the world. It just didn't count, but it did count for all of us with eyes, and I thought it was an amazing play. I thought the Dolphins really showed up, and this is the problem Baltimore's going to have. And, folks, I'm telling you, Lamar Jackson's great, but he is not good enough to put that entire offense on his shoulders, go through a playoff grind, and win the Super Bowl. And the reason for that is because we have seen it before in the playoffs with the Baltimore Ravens. When they can't run the football or when they have no offense to help out Lamar, he alone cannot win a playoff game. The Chargers beat him badly with Phillip Rivers. Then after that, they lost again badly with horrible offensive numbers. They did win a playoff game last year, but the second game they played last year was miserable, and the Ravens got problems. So if they're not smart enough to figure out how to win in the playoffs after, to help out Lamar Jackson, then they're not going to. And I think we saw a team last night that just couldn't figure out how to get yardage and couldn't score. And give all the credit to Miami, of course, but Miami's not a playoff team. And so if the Ravens are a playoff team and they go to the playoffs, they better figure out a way to help Lamar out because he's not going to be able to do it by himself.
Yeah, I think Troy Aikman was really, surprised at the way that Miami was playing defense and that Baltimore just couldn't take advantage of it.
Yeah,
I think you've seen a guy like Lamar Jackson put a team on his back, but like you said, they are a running football team. They need to run the football, and it was just weird some of the play calling that was happening. They're playing single coverage outside them the whole time, and you're throwing screen passes, and you're running right up the middle against these 8-man fronts. It made no sense.
I get it, and maybe it's they don't have the confidence in him throwing the deep ball. I don't know. I just know that he can't do it by himself. So, Jake, Baltimore's got some issues to figure out, and that AFC North is open. It's wide open. We got Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's right back in it again.
Pittsburgh's right back in it. You got the Browns, the Bengals, both with 5 wins, and now there's Baltimore with 6. So it's going to be a very exciting November and December in the AFC North. Jake, did you see in college football? So first of all, let's just touch on Florida since I'm looking at that Gator flag you got on the back wall of your bedroom there.
Yeah, if anybody was wondering where I wanted to go in high school, this is some
well, so here we have complete disarray. A team that's lost, 3 in a row, 4 in a row, something. They're 4-5. You've got a noon game against an opponent that is very unfamiliar. Let's just say that. School, small, tiny school coming in here to pick up a check. It's a subsidy game is what I call these things. And, they come and they get their checks and then they leave. And it's a noon kickoff. You got smoked by Georgia and South Carolina. I mean, where does Florida go from here? What do you think is going to happen? I would assume they're going to win tomorrow. And then after that, you've got Missouri on the road, which has not been friendly to Florida, anything on the road. And then you've got the Seminoles coming in. And this week they play Miami. So a lot to think about here. What does Florida – where do they go from? What do you want to see? What do you want them to show you at the Swamp if you are actually going to watch that game?
Well, first, let me tell you about South State Bank. At South State Bank, we understand the small businesses need a community business partner they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient locations in Alachua County. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. What I want to see from these Gators is a win. I mean, they haven't won in, a month?
That's Tennessee game, I think, was the last game they won. Is that right?
No, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt in
October. Excuse me. Okay, you're right. Vanderbilt. How could I have forgotten that game? I mean, how could I have forgotten the Vanderbilt game? Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. So, all right, they beat Vanderbilt, and they didn't play Anthony Richardson very much in that game for some reason. So here they had Richardson getting hurt in the hotel doing a dance. You had Jones throwing interceptions and dropping footballs. All right, so you want to see them win, and then after they win, you've got so obviously a chance to go 7-5, right? And that'll get them in some bowl game, some nebulous bowl game out there, somewhere.
None of it's a given. The way
shoot. I mean, with the way Missouri, who knows? I mean, Missouri is one of those teams in the middle of nowhere, out there in the cold in November. They've got a real interesting game this weekend, actually, against South Carolina. They're trying to get healthy with their quarterback, Bazelak. But then Florida State is a team with 3 wins trying to get bowl eligible. If they don't beat Miami and the next one and Florida, they will not have 6 wins. They have to win out to get bowl eligible, if you could imagine that. I mean, it's just the toilet bowl spinning right now. And
where's that Miami game on? C-SPAN?
This season is. It used to be one of the greatest rivalries, right? It used to be one of the most intense. It certainly was one of the most athletic and one of the most intense, I guess is the word I would use. And now you've got a Miami team and Florida State teams going different directions. Tyler Van Dyke for Miami is the real deal. I think he is. Look at his numbers. What he has done is essentially save Manny Diaz's job, in my mind. If they beat FSU, he's definitely saving Manny's job, I think, because Manny, after losing a heartbreaker to North Carolina, decided to use this guy a little bit differently, as if like he is the Gino Torretta of this team, and all of a sudden he's put him on their shoulder. He's thrown for over 400 yards 2 out of the last 3 games and a high 3 number. He's got over 10 touchdown passes. He is the reason they beat NC State. He is the reason they beat Pittsburgh. He is the reason they won that Georgia Tech game last weekend. And I'm not saying Miami's anything great. I mean, they can't stop anybody, but he can score. They can score. They're going to beat Florida State this weekend, and Florida State is not going to be bowl eligible. And they're going to do it because this guy, as a quarterback, has got the U back in play, certainly for the Coastal Division. Why? Because they're one game behind Pittsburgh. If somebody trips up Pittsburgh, and they were praying for North Carolina last night, but if somebody trips up Pittsburgh, Miami, if they went out, wins the Coastal Division. Now, what about that? They're 4-2 in the Coastal Division because of this kid, Tyler Van Dyke. He's done it by himself.
If I would have told you that that it would be a race between Pitt and Miami to go to the ACC title game to face Wake Forest at this point,
at this point, right?
It would be absolutely insane. I can't tell the ACC is fun or it's just bad, which makes it fun.
Yeah, listen. NC State's not terrible. Wake is certainly not terrible. Miami is playing better football. Pitt is really pretty competitive. Yeah, they're not that bad. I mean, they're not great, but it could be the Pac-12.
North Carolina has really just not met expectations as a football team.
No, their defense has let them down, and Howell played good. Sam played great last night. And then the rain came in overtime. They had just taken the ball first, but anyway. They came back in a tough environment. They shut Pittsburgh down after Pittsburgh got in the 20s. And Hal brought them back, covered easily. Easy cover for all you North Carolina fans. And they almost pulled it off. And that would have been a huge win for them.
And, shout out to Lucas Kroll with the game-winning touchdown, former Gator. Let me tell you about two places right quick. Celebration Point is where Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Prime and Pearl, Regal Cinemas, La Macaron, Dave & Buster's, Bass Pro Shops, and the HBC Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, now serving brunch on Saturday and Sundays. We will see you at Celebration Point, where Gators come to celebrate, and turn your car or truck into a rolling billboard for your business or brand with an eye-catching vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. This November, mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Still at 13, JC. Just we gotta figure something out. Get that into an even number. But
hey, Jake, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we've been just racing through college football. It's unbelievable how fast it goes, right? It's really unbelievable how bad October was for Florida. And now, Shane and I are doing these Peachland Dental Picks contests. You were involved in one of our picks contests a week or so ago. Did you happen to see how you did that time? It was the week that Florida State played Clemson and the Gators played Georgia. Did you see how you did?
No, I was scared.
I was scared. Well, Jake, it was, it wasn't that bad, really. You took Clemson. They got that miracle finish. That was a winner.
Oh, my God.
You took
the
Michigan.
Greatest backdoor cover of all time.
Sure. One of the worst beats also. You had Michigan State when they beat Michigan outright. You had them. You also, however, had Iowa and Baylor. They were losers that weekend. But you had Notre Dame. They covered against Carolina. You took Mississippi. They did not cover against Auburn. Looked like you kind of went 500. You had Kentucky. They lost to Mississippi State, but you took Georgia. You did take the Tampa Bay Bucks. They lost to the Saints, and you took Seattle. They covered against Jacksonville. So you went 6-5, Jake. Not terrible. Not terrible at all.
Hey.
I mean, you could, if you go 6-5 and you go to Vegas, you can arrive on a plane and not leave on a bus going 6-5. You can stay another weekend.
Exactly. You break 500, that's a win in Vegas.
Yeah, you get to hang around is what that means. That means that you got another week to try to pay the bills. At least you're not leaving on a bus.
We got a question here from John on Facebook Live. We're talking about college football. His question is, does Tennessee make it a competitive game against Georgia?
I say they do, and I say that because offensively, I think they may be the best team Georgia's faced. this year. I think if Tennessee played Florida again, they would beat Florida rather easily. Offensively, they have gotten much better as a team. They're healthier. And I think, and I've said this before to Shane, I think that coach is a great fit at Tennessee. I think they're really starting to get on board with him. I don't think they'll necessarily win the game, but Rocky Top's going to have 105, 106,000 fans, just like that Ole Miss game. And had they won that Ole Miss game, we'd be looking at Tennessee as one of the most improved teams in the country, and maybe they still are. Record-wise, it's not that gaudy, but it's not bad either. That Kentucky win was huge for them last week. They've also won on the road at Missouri. They've blown out somebody else at home. They have gotten better since they played the Gators. There's the story of two teams. Florida's got progressively worse. Tennessee has got progressively better since that game. It doesn't make me happy to say it, but that's what's the truth. And the truth is Tennessee is getting 20 points, and I'm taking it because that's a lot of points to lay on the road for even a team as great as the almighty Georgia Bulldogs, right? So defensively, they're not really all that stout, but I like the way Heupel has got that team confidence up offensively. I mean, the wheel route is so open for them, it seems like, and he calls it at just the right play. And the next thing you know, the balls are in the end zone. And that time of possession against Kentucky last week was so lopsided, and they were still able to win the football game. It was unbelievable.
It was insane. It was like you know what it was? It was like that tennis. It was like that Florida game when Kentucky played Florida. Florida was leading in most categories and ended up losing. It's the same thing with that game there. And that was a pretty crazy game because I think Tennessee only kept the ball for like fewer than 15 minutes.
Yeah, they score fast, dude. They either score fast or they kick it fast. There's no long drives. These guys go right at you. And he's a high strike, attacking offensive play caller. He's always been that way. Look at those Central Florida games. They don't drag it out for 7 minutes on the ground, mixing the run and the pass between the 20s. These guys, they try to score. They go for the shots. And Hooker is turning out to be quite a little quarterback that they found up there at Tennessee. Yeah. We didn't know about Hendon Hooker, before the season. We know a lot about him now. I don't know. I just like what I see out of Tennessee. I like what I see offensively. I know Georgia's going to probably win the game, and I know Georgia's probably going to score, in the 30s or 40s. But Tennessee's going to cover that 20, and I'm taking Tennessee, and I'm going to feel good about it too.
Yeah, it was even during that Alabama loss. It's weird that we're talking about how good a team is in a loss, but even that Alabama loss, it just didn't feel like your typical Tennessee loss to Alabama.
They didn't fold. No, they did not just fold, and they had every reason they could have folded, and they kept striking. Now, Alabama's another story right now. They're offensively are challenged up front on the offensive line. Depth could be an issue, but maybe youth as well. So we saw LSU exploit that. We saw Tennessee somewhat exploit that. We saw Florida exploit that. Alabama somehow has only got one loss, dude. And they've lost one game on the road at night by 3 points where they had the lead late in the second half against Texas A&M, whom they came back against, who you could say, well, at the time wasn't the top 25 team. Would you say Texas A&M is a top 25 team today? The answer is you absolutely would. They could be a top 10 team by the end of this weekend. And you would also say, well, that great streak Alabama had of 100 wins against teams not ranked in the top 25. Okay, on that night, I guess that streak ended. But today, that streak probably should stay intact because Texas A&M is this close to playing the Georgia Bulldogs in Atlanta. How? Because if they beat Mississippi and LSU and Alabama loses to Auburn, which wouldn't be a shocker these days, would it? I mean, Auburn, the way they pulled this stuff out with magic tricks and everything in Auburn, listen, Texas A&M could take that great defense they've got and bring it to Georgia in Atlanta. Who knows? And what would happen if I just want to go this far out on the guessing tree? What would happen if Texas A&M shocked Georgia? Now you've got two SEC teams in the top Final Four. Would that blow the world up? Would that just destroy everybody? It would. I'm really actually kind of hoping for it because I don't think Alabama's got the depth to do it. I do think Texas A&M, oddly enough, could be the team because of their defense that could give Georgia fits. And they've got real studs on offense. Now, the quarterback, it's all up to him, right? Calzada, though, has played better. He's played better. So I'm bouncing around here, Jake, but football is getting exciting now. I love November. It's the best month of the season.
Yeah, and at Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Yeah, JC, total for that Georgia game, that your possible hypothetical Texas A&M Georgia game. Yeah, total for that's going to be like 15, 16.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, I think, very defensive in nature. But I do, I do think that A&M is a team that, with a break, could slip into that SEC championship game because all they have to do is beat Mississippi, which, by the way, is not a gimme. I'm not giving them that game. Corral is amazing, but Corral's not 100% healthy either. And defensively, I'm not sure Mississippi can win it for them. But maybe they can't. But that game is at the Grove. ESPN's going to be there. Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler are going to call that game in prime time on ESPN. Mississippi, Texas A&M. This is going to be the highlight game of the week. Georgia, Tennessee on CBS at 3:30. And then you've got Florida and Alabama playing subsidy games. You've got a couple of other interesting games like Arkansas is down to LSU trying to stay in the top 25. Kentucky and Vandy play. South Carolina, Missouri, a game that those two teams really will care about and play hard about because South Carolina believes they've turned the corner after the way they trashed Florida. And Missouri is just trying to get into bowl eligibility, and they need to beat a South Carolina team. So Mississippi State traveling to Auburn also. My goodness, Mississippi State, they could look at themselves right now and say, somehow we could be 8-1 on the season. There was one game where they just trailed most of the day and didn't deserve to win. That was against LSU. But how they didn't kick 1 out of 3 field goals to at least have a chance against Arkansas last week, and the way they came back was impressive. Will Rogers has been great offensively, and Mississippi State got jobbed by Memphis. They've got 3 losses and could easily just have 1, so they're a pretty scrappy little team. And then Auburn, like I said, they've got all the hocus-pocus magic with the officials and everything else that works in their favor down in Auburn. And, there they are waiting for Alabama if they can pull it off today. Now, if Auburn loses tomorrow, and if Texas A&M loses to either Ole Miss or LSU next week, but let's say they lose to Ole Miss tomorrow, and let's say Auburn loses to Mississippi State tomorrow, Alabama's in the SEC championship. It's over. That's it. There's no other option. Alabama is in the SEC championship unless Alabama were to lose to Arkansas and Auburn. They're not losing to Arkansas at home, I don't think. And if they go to Auburn and Auburn has 3 losses and they only have 1, they're going to Atlanta, whether you like it or not, folks.
Yeah, A&M. This is going to be a very interesting week, and it's probably going to be your determiner for, at least in the western part of the conference. The eastern part of the conference has been pretty determined, and you're just kind of hoping for chaos at that point in terms of just the teams playing. But this weekend seems to be going to be a determiner for who's going to go to Atlanta and kind of cement some teams. I think you mentioned Matt Corral, him being dinged up. Way he's running reminds me of how Dan Mullen used Dak Prescott. It's like running a Ferrari straight into a brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
With a guy who's an elite passer like that, and he's just taking hits and all sorts of stuff.
Well, this is the thing about Dan Mullen. And, folks, I don't know. I mean, he's supposed to be the whisperer, right? The great quarterback coach. Nick Fitzgerald was a guy that he had at Mississippi State that couldn't throw a football 12 yards accurately. Eventually, he did figure out a couple routes that Nick could complete. He reminds me of Felipe, though. Felipe couldn't throw the ball accurately either, in my mind, when I watched him play, but they were great at running the ball. Nick Fitzgerald was a great runner. They were also about the same size, 6'6", 6'5". And, these are guys that Dan loves having in his offense. Can Florida win with a guy like that? Can Florida win with a guy that plays with a guy that focuses everything around the quarterback run? Now, Kyle Trask last year was not that guy. But Kyle Trask was put in by default because he wanted Felipe Franks to be his quarterback. Why? Because he's the guy who started. Where did Kyle Trask come from? He came from after Felipe's foot got broken in half. So he kind of got lucky with Kyle Trask. He did. He didn't want Kyle Trask to be the quarterback. He wanted Felipe. Why? Because that's who started. Kyle Trask comes in, has all these great players. I mean, he got Kyle Pitts drafted as high as he did. He got Grimes out there catching balls. He had Tony getting drafted like he did because they threw the ball. Dan Mullen's got to go find some more Kyle Trask's out there. That's how I feel Florida will get it back. Otherwise, it's going to be the same old nonsense. And you're going to lose 4 or 5 games or 3 games, and you're going to be Tennessee circa 2012 every year. And I don't want that here. I don't think Dan wants that either. But can Dan go find a guy who can sling it? Can he go get a JT Daniels, Stetson Bennett type quarterback? Can he go get a Connor Bazelak? Can he go get a Tyler Van Dyke at Miami? Would Florida want Tyler Van Dyke right about now? I think they probably would. That's who he's got to get. And QB's going to sit there and go, oh, JC, it doesn't matter if blah, blah, blah. They have to find a guy who can throw the football. He does say that, by the way. He does agree that that's the only way you're going to win. Well, he wouldn't agree that he does, but that's what it sounds like sometimes coming through these earphones. But I think Dan Mullen's got to figure out between now and early signing period and transfer portal, use that as well. Find somebody who can sling it. Find somebody who can get these receivers the ball where they need to have it. That's what you need.
Yeah, Cliff on Facebook Live actually said that the Gators and Ravens offense are kind of similar. You know, they're running teams with quarterbacks who probably aren't, pass first guys, even though Lamar Jackson's shown some ability, same with Anthony Richardson, to be, good passers. I think AR can be a guy who can sling it. I think he can learn to sling it because he's got the arm, and I've seen him put some NFL throws out there. I mean, as a second-year player, second-year freshman. The thing is are you going to be as accurate as a guy like Kyle Trask? Who knows? Or maybe a completion percentage around that. I don't know. But I think he is a guy, if you got to throw it 40 times in a game, he can throw it 40 times in a game. But let me talk about real quick before you rebuttal me.
No, I'm not.
Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com and join us today. We're going to do some picks for the Peachland Dentistry JC and the QB picks. I'm not the QB, but we're still going to do it anyway because. Yeah,
we are. And the QB, for his part, is out of town. And he sent me last night at the glorious hour of, I think, 11 o'clock. Actually, no, it wasn't that late. But he did send me last night his picks. So I have the QB's picks. He's 4 games ahead of me right now after that calamitous weekend I had 3 weeks ago picking.
Right there, JC.
So I lost badly to him, and the whole season was flipped. I'm looking to flip it back my way. Do we want to do those picks now or after the break in the second segment?
We're coming up on a break, so let's do that. Yeah, second segment.
The voice of God has come through and said it is going to come in the second segment. So we will let the redheaded voice of God be the determining factor. Thank you there, Evan. And we will. He does have a great voice. I don't know why he doesn't do more radio. But at any rate, maybe he will. Let's do that, Jake. Why don't you grab a break and then we'll come back and crank up the second segment.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Evan,
okay. We'll have those picks coming up. Big picks coming up, folks. Big. Don't go anywhere.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. On Monday, Florida's Rising Star Foundation will host a true legend NFL great, Rocky Bleiert of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think you know they won 4 Super Bowls in a row. Rocky went to Vietnam, served for our country, got his leg almost blown off, came back, had several surgeries, and went on to play running back with Franco Harris on all those great Pittsburgh Steelers teams. He will be here to speak. I'll be there Monday night at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. A limited number of tickets are still available, and you can get them by going to FloridaRisingStars.com. And that will get you into this event Monday night, 5:30 to 8. I'll see you Monday night at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill for the event featuring Rocky Bleiert.
And we're back, folks. So today we're going to tell you a little fact about what happened today, brought to you by Comfort Temp. This is This Day in Sports. On this day in sports, in 1995, in 1995, Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins broke Fran Tarkenton's all-time NFL passing yard mark at 47,003.
How about
also,
that?
coincidentally, this day, former Astros pitcher Mike Fiers blows the whistle on the Houston Astros cheating, sign stealing methods. So some pretty big things happening on this day, but we're going to tell you about Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Comfort Temp is now hiring team members with all levels of experience, great culture and benefits and opportunities for growth. $1,000 sign-on bonus for qualified positions. Call today to learn more about a career with Comfort Temp Company, 352-376-2366. All right, JC. So we got some picks here for Peachland Dental picks with JC QB. I'm ready for it.
Yes, your number one destination for mouth care, Peachland Dental in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Absolutely. Love Big Joe Lawson. He's done a great job. Play golf with him and once a year in January, and he's a super guy. So we appreciate his support of this show. Certainly, it's been for quite some time through COVID and so on. So big shout out to Joe, and thank you for all you've done for this show. So we start off with the picks contest. Got a few games here, my man. I got Shane's picks, and we're going to start it off in the Big 12 with a game that the number is somewhat surprising. You've got Oklahoma coming off a bye week. You're playing at Baylor. The Baylor Bears losing to TCU last week. You didn't even have a head coach, basically, after Gary Patterson hit the road. So Baylor is getting 5.5. I would have thought this would be a bigger number. QB has taken Oklahoma with Caleb Williams. He believes they're starting to cruise. I'm going to take the underdog at home because, A, they're getting the 5.5, and B, I am not sold on Oklahoma's defense. I'm not really sold on Baylor's either, for that matter. But for some reason, this line should have been higher to me. Somebody has some information. I don't know what it could be, but getting 5.5 will be enough for me to take them. Who you got?
I think I will take. I think I'll take Baylor to cover. Chasing losses, as they always say.
Chasing losses. Okay. I mean, Baylor's the home team in Waco. They have 50,000 fans there. Oklahoma coming off break could be a little rusty. I don't know. Last week we saw Alabama play LSU. LSU was not rusty whatsoever after their open date, and Alabama couldn't figure out how to run the football. So it really will be interesting to see how Oklahoma comes out. I suspect they're going to score a lot of points, but I also think Baylor will. So give me the points and the home crowd. Michigan is playing at Penn State. I almost went to this game. We had some temporary plans, but they got somewhat diverted. And this game is in State College. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Michigan coming in thinking they're hot stuff. That somehow are ranked ahead of Michigan State in the college football poll. Not sure why that worked out that way.
It's because the committee's just trying to piss people off at this point.
Well, it's all going to work itself out anyway, so it really probably doesn't matter. But it's a bad look, and it does lend to people not trusting these guys as much, I think. So it was a rather ridiculous thing to put Michigan ahead of Michigan State. but they only did, Michigan 6, State 7. Who knows? But Shane's got Penn State getting a 1.5. I'm going to take. I think I like Michigan. I know Sean Clifford, their defense, but Michigan to me plays really stout defense. I don't know why this line's not bigger. And Michigan is going to be the team. I think Michigan's going to have one loss going to that Ohio State game, so that must mean they win this game. So I'll take Michigan.
Yeah, I'll take Michigan too with that 1.5 spread.
All right. Purdue is playing at Ohio State. Big win last week for Purdue. They are the giant killers.
19th ranked Purdue Boilermakers.
Yeah, they are the 6-3 for Jeff Brom's done a great job. This is a weird team, though, man. They can go out and just cook Iowa. They can go out and beat that team last week, Michigan State, and then lose to Rutgers. So but they are 6-3, and they are catching 21 points. I'm taking it. I am a point taker this week. I want the points. Shane also took Purdue. Ohio State has just not shown me much. Running it up on Rutgers and Maryland and teams like this do nothing for me. Nebraska was there with them for 4 quarters. We've seen other teams play with Ohio State. I think Purdue will keep it definitely inside of 21 points. I'm not sure I understand that line either. So give me Purdue.
Yeah, they're gonna need David Bell to really step up if they want to keep this close, because Ohio State they're really good offensively. So that can make me think that they'll be able to run it up and cover that 21-point spread.
Okay.
You mentioned that Ohio State has played teams like Rutgers, but Purdue lost to Rutgers. So
I know.
So I don't know what to tell you, but I'll take Ohio, the Buckeyes minus 20.
Okay. And I don't blame you one bit for taking them. When they're at home in the Horseshoe, it is a different day, a different type of team for some reason. But they've won big games on the road and at home, and they've scored a lot of points in both places, on the road and at home. They are better at home, though. I do agree with you there. And Purdue, but see, I think Purdue's going to score. And when you're betting, you're looking at not necessarily teams, you're looking at numbers. And numbers are, so you're just trying to figure out what the score could be, what's going to happen in the fourth quarter. That's what you're trying to figure out if you take a big dog who is capable of scoring points. That's your tip there, Gino, if you're watching. So Gino is a great viewer of the show. So 21 points, give me Purdue. I understand you're taking Ohio State, though. I don't blame you for a bit. The next big game is also in the Big Ten. Minnesota, believe it or not, still controls their fate. They will play Wisconsin in the air, but they have to beat Iowa. Iowa is hanging by the skin of their teeth. They are laying 5. They have not played well these last 2 weeks, but Minnesota got trashed by Illinois. I can't put a finger on this game. I'm just going to take the Gophers in the 5 points, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them get blown out again.
Yeah, just one of those, cover your eyes and just
that's right.
Throw a dart at the dartboard kind of deal. It's been crazy how fast the pendulum and hard the pendulum swung back against Iowa in terms of regression to the mean with all the turnovers they forced and all the turnovers they started having as an offense.
They're challenged. They're very challenged.
That's the thing that I'm looking at. 5 points is not a big line, but it could end up being the difference. That's just a touchdown, and I could see the Hawkeyes losing by that much. So I'll take the Gophers and PJ Flex. Guy, you mom.
Yeah, I got to tell you though, since we have the Big Ten here on our minds, that Brett Bielema might be the coach of the year, just because Illinois is competitive, man. Winning at Penn State, at Minnesota this year, it's unbelievable. But Iowa is a team after that Penn State game that's just forgotten how to score. They didn't really know how to score before the Penn State game either. All right, this is my 5-star game of the week. This one I should have put last, but I love this game. I love it because the quarterback at Miami, to me, is the real deal. He has single-handedly gotten them into the picture for the ACC Coastal Division, of which they are 1 game behind Pittsburgh with the tiebreaker on Pittsburgh. And they have won 3 straight after losing a tight one at North Carolina. They still don't play very good defense, but when you can score in the 40s, sometimes you don't need that great defense because you're just going to go ahead and score. That's what Tennessee does. So Miami is doing that now. They are scoring. And so they are playing a hapless, and I absolutely mean hapless, Florida State team with no idea or structure on offense. They have played better, but they are not good. Miami is an easy cover here. I am shocked it's only 2.5. I think Vegas is looking at this as a toss-up. I think Vegas is forgetting that the quarterback position is lopsided in that matchup. Miami's quarterback is really good. I love the guy. His quarterback rating the last 3 weeks has gone through the roof. He's thrown for close to 1,100 yards in those last 3 games. And against NC State, against Pittsburgh, against pretty decent teams. So give me the Canes. That is my lock. They are going to bury Florida State, and I think they win by 10 or more.
Yeah, I'll take the Canes too. The reason I think this game's so close is because it's a rivalry game, and these teams always play each other close. There's been very few blowouts in the last couple of years, if I remember.
Well, I mean, that could be. I just think they've been very similar in those games, right? I don't think they're similar now. I think Florida State is very deficient at the quarterback position, and Miami is very good at the quarterback position. That's just all I need. And you're inside of a field goal here.
I think they're suffering from the same issue that they're suffering from when Jimbo Fisher was there. They can't block anybody. Their offensive line cannot give the quarterback time to throw the ball.
Yeah, no argument. I agree. Everything offensively is challenged at Florida State, while Miami is putting up points. So this isn't. Now, having said everything I just said that makes logical sense, Florida State will win by 10, but probably not. Miami's winning this game. And really, what home field advantage? I mean, they're going to have 40,000 fans there at Doak. I don't even know. Maybe it'll be more, but there'll be a lot of Miami fans there. Miami fans are back. I mean, Miami travels better than they watch their team at home. They seem to travel with fans better than they seem to put fans in the stadium in Fort Lauderdale. It's really strange. Moving on, let's go Washington State, Oregon. Just real quick here. Oh, by the way, the QB took Florida State. Don't really understand that, because his logic would have agreed with everything I said on the quarterback spot position. But maybe he doesn't know about Tyler Van Dyke. Maybe I should make this the Tyler Van Dyke show. Anyway, Washington State and Oregon. Ducks are 14-point favorites, but I like Washington State because I think the Ducks, aren't as good defensively. They were in a battle last week. That's too many points to give Wazoo. Wazoo's played inspired since Rolovich was fired there. And so they're not that bad. I like Washington State getting those points. So does QB.
I'm going to go with I think I like Wazoo. I think their defense is better than it was under Mike Leach. And like you said,
not sold on Oregon.
And I think Oregon's pretty good. They're a good team, but they'll probably still win this game. But like you said, that's a lot of points.
14. Arkansas, we go to the SEC now. Let's do this weekend's games. A lot of good SEC games, except for the 2 subsidy games. Arkansas is at LSU. LSU is a 3-point favorite. Arkansas, to me, though, I don't know. Actually, Arkansas is a 3-point favorite. So them being favorite at LSU, give me the Hogs. QB's got the Hogs as well.
Yeah, I'll take the Hogs too. Woo pig.
We've got Texas A&M at Mississippi. We talked about this game in the first segment of the podcast. I think Mississippi can give them some problems, but their defense at Texas A&M is great. They are playing for something because they believe they can get to the SEC championship game with a little help. They think, Texas A&M defensively is one of the better teams in the country. So I think they got enough horses, but I'm going to take, and hereby go again, I'm going to take Ole Miss, probably knowing better that they're not going to be able to handle Texas A&M. But I like Corral. If he's 90% healthy, he's better than probably 90% of the quarterbacks in the country. And it's only a 2-point spread. I'll take those 2 points. Shane's got Texas.
I'll take the Rebs too.
You don't want the Aggies? What?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I don't know, man. It's Ole Miss. It's playing at home.
Yeah, the Grove, Saturday night. Hey, baby. A&M's not bad, but on the road, I like Mississippi in this one. And if A&M loses, they're just about done. They are done in the SEC West. So they're playing for their lives.
57. That's insane.
Yeah. You think that's going over or under?
I think that's going to go under. I don't know why.
Do you? Well, you love Texas A&M's defense, is why. That's why you said that. Yeah, and they're very good. Let's be honest, they're quite good. Kentucky at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's getting 21. This is the only underdog I'm not taking. I think Vanderbilt should be an FCS school playing in the Sun Belt. So I don't want Vandy anywhere near the league, but they are here forever. And so I'll have to live with it. And I'll take Kentucky to bounce back after 2 straight losses. I don't care if the game's in Nashville. I don't care where it is. It doesn't matter. Kentucky will cover.
Nashville would just basically be Lexington. So give me the Wildcats.
Yeah. Okay, you got the Wildcats. Shane took Vandy. Okay. South Carolina, Missouri. Shaner took Missouri in this one. I like what I saw out of South Carolina. I hate Missouri's defense, probably the worst in the conference outside of Vanderbilt's. South Carolina is running the football. They have figured out how to run the football. That win last week is going to carry them on the road to upset Missouri, if you can call it that. But I'm taking South Carolina. Shane's got Missouri. Who you got?
Yeah, I'll take the Gamecocks. Jason Brown was pretty good out there.
Yeah, and Missouri's in disarray as well. I don't know if that coach is the guy. For some reason, Shane loves that coach. I think he's average at best. At best. Here's the game. Here's a great game. Georgia at Tennessee. We talked about this one as well. The only reason I'm taking the 20 points is because of the offensive ability of the Vols and playing at home. So I guess that's 2 reasons. So give me Tennessee plus the 20. Georgia will win. I see them winning by 13, 12, something like that.
You know, I'm going to go with the Bulldogs because they've covered just about every single game they've played. They covered the game that we picked last time I was on. So
they sure did. All right, you got them. Then the other Bulldogs are at Auburn. Again, Auburn with all of their, wizardry and magic hocus pocus baloney that they pull off on their home field. Referees, everything. Bo Nix is awful. I don't think he won't play at the next level. I think that's obvious. But Auburn's laying 5.5. I'm taking State. I'm taking State because I believe in Will Rogers, and I believe they can stay close. How they beat Texas A&M and how they, managed to win 5 games coming off of a season where they couldn't get a first down shows the dramatic improvement. They should have. Quite honestly, they should be 7-1. So I'm taking, or at least 6-2. So I'm taking Mississippi State. Give me the 5. I think Auburn's miserable, but Auburn for some reason pulls off these games, man.
It was pretty shaky to start out for Mississippi State, at least this year too. After that pretty horrible year they had, turning over to Mike Leach.
Awful.
Their defense looks much improved. I could see them winning this game.
Yeah, and listen, Auburn is going to play Alabama strong because of that, because of the way that game is and the rivalry that it is. Even though in the past Alabama's pretty much handled them, but when the game is in Auburn, Auburn finds a different level of play. But this is Mississippi State, and I think Auburn's reeling off that game against Texas A&M. They were absolutely pathetic offensively, and credit Texas A&M for a lot of that. Okay, so we both have Mississippi State. Shane does as well. 2 NFL games real quick to wrap it up this week. I'm taking the local teams here. We have the Tampa Bay Bucks playing at Washington. The Washington team getting 9.5. I don't know who plays offense for Washington. I don't know who their quarterback is. Don't care. I think Tampa Bay comes off the bye week and routs Washington, even though it is the NFL and I'm probably crazy to be laying that kind of spread. Tampa Bay is the team you lay spreads with because of the ability to score. They can get in the 40s against anybody. I'll take it. Give me Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I'll take Tampa Bay too. You gave TB12 too much time to get ready.
I think so. Washington is who Shane took. Don't know why. The other game,
he loves Dan Snyder.
Good point. He does not love Dan Snyder. Jacksonville at Indianapolis. Colts laying 10.5. Carson Wentz is questionable here. If he plays, they easily cover this game. If he doesn't, I think the Jags have found something defensively, but I'm thinking the Jags will not cover this 10.5. And again, it's another big number, but I'm thinking that the Colts, who are a desperate team trying to get back into the AFC South race, I think they beat Jacksonville by 14 to 15 points if Wentz plays. So give me the Colts.
Yeah, the Colts put up a lot of points on the Jets a few weeks ago.
They can score. They can run the ball. They can score. Yeah. But I think that they need Wentz to play. I don't think Taylor goes off if Wentz doesn't play. So I'll take that. Give me the Colts. Where'd you go? Did you go somewhere, Jake? There he is.
That was
there
me. I had to check something.
All right, so you got the Colts. All right, and that's it. We got our picks down. I've got to make some room. I got to make some headway on the QB, man. I can't let him get too far ahead. We're running out of time, so he's 4 games up on me. But I love. But again, to reiterate, the Miami Hurricanes this week is your pick of the week, dude. It is a vast. It is worlds apart at the quarterback position here. Because I believe that Tyler Van Dyke has saved Manny Diaz this season. I don't think if they win out, they will get rid of Manny Diaz because he found a quarterback, and this guy is saving. So I'll take the Canes. That's my lock. 2.5 points. Hell yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, Tyler Van Dyke's been really good. 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Come on, they haven't had anything like that since Ken Dorsey. Give me. So he is so much better than
not lose the game.
This kid is so much better than that De'Aaron King fella. And God bless the kid. He got hurt, he got injured, but he wasn't that good when he was healthy, I didn't think. He played well at Houston, but it's a different ball game in the ACC than it is in that All-American Conference. I think Cincinnati is grossly overrated. I know everybody wants Cincinnati in the playoffs. Trust me, folks. You do not want Cincinnati in the playoffs unless you want another semifinal blowout, because Georgia will run them out of the building, and by halftime you'll ask yourself, were they really the 4th best team in the country, Cincinnati? And the answer is a resounding hell no. You don't want Cincinnati in that playoff picture. I'm sorry, but they're not good enough, folks. They can't. Tulsa could have taken them to overtime and won last week. Give me a break already. I don't want to talk about this anymore. But we're going to talk about Cincinnati because everybody's in love with the great story of the Group of 5 team. Blah, blah, blah. Do you want to watch lousy semifinal games, or do you want to watch competitive semifinal games? That's the question you have to ask yourself as a committee member putting these teams in the playoff. And I don't think Cincinnati can compete with these guys. I just don't. They can't play with Georgia. No way.
I'll be okay with Cincy getting in there. But real quick before we get wrapped up, if you've got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. Not surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Call today, QC Kinetics. Yeah.
All right.
That'll do it for today's show. Thanks to JC for some more rousing hot takes. I was able to get some in as well. Biggest Tyler Van Dyke fan in the world, John Cornell.
I think the guy's really legit. I think, and I'm not a Miami guy. I don't care for Miami, but he is. He's good. I think they beat Florida State by double digits. We'll see if I'm right or wrong on Monday.
Yeah. Follow and like on the show on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. You can listen to this show on 37 different platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. That'll do it for today. Today's show is a wrap, brought to you by WrapSpot.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, WrapSpot, Okito America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.